Hi guys, so for this video I kind of just wanted to yap about Stoicism because I love Stoicism and I love Stoicism as a whole, and I wanted to talk about bits and pieces of it, but it's kind of all connecting. So the first part of Stoicism, the first thing you learn is Stoicism is not about just sitting back and letting things happen, because people talk about Stoics and people who are very stoic as quiet and not saying anything and just letting the life happen, but that is the complete opposite of what Stoicism really is. It's in Stoicism, you change what you can accept and you accept what you can't change. It's a nice little one-liner, but that is the kind of core of Stoicism, where you have the external world, where the external world will do whatever it wants. The external world we can't control. It is what it is. But then you also have the internal world, which you can control. And you can, how do I say this? You can shape your own internal world, which a lot of people will talk about Stoics not being in touch with their feelings, but it's the opposite. They're more in touch with their feelings, which is the first kind of clear distinction of what people think Stoicism is versus what it actually is. And so first you have this idea of control and how you can only control yourself, you can't control other people. And that is a very freeing philosophy, because whereas you take life where things happen and we get upset and get mad about things happening, like the weather not being nice when I want to film a video, and I get annoyed, but then it's taking the good and the bad away from every situation. It's saying this situation is what it is and taking it at face value. It's not good or bad. The weather happens, and it's relates back to this really old proverb, you know. This guy's son falls off his horse, and he's like, oh, his neighbors come to him and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, this is such a horrible thing. And he's like, maybe. And then the soldiers come to enlist all the young men to the army, but he couldn't go because he fell off his horse, and his neighbors come and he's like, that's such a good thing. And he's like, maybe. And it goes on for a while, but it's about not to say things are good or bad. Kind of, they are what they are, but what are you going to do about it? Are you either going to accept it or are you going to change it? Are you going to have peace of mind about it? Are you going to say, this is what it is, and just take it as it is and not even think about it, accept it? Or are you going to say, I don't want this to be how it is, so I'm going to take actions accordingly to change it? And a big thing in Stoicism, where, you know, at least how I interpret it, you have a statement that says it is what it is. And then that can cause a lot of damage, because that is acting like we know how it is. We know, but the world is just a perception. It's just our perception of the world. So in terms of it is what it is, it's not what it is. It's our perception of the world, which then we can take something like manifesting and actually implement it into Stoicism. If the world is just our perception, then we take something like we want good things to happen to us, so we start being good to other people. We take it from the external world where we don't have control, and we bring it into the internal where we can control ourselves, and we start doing good. Then good things start happening to us. And we start, as you say, manifesting, you know, changing our mindset to hopefully achieve success. And a lot of people would say, you know, Stoics, that's not real. Manifesting isn't real. Things are what they are. But if reality is just our perception, then it makes room for things like that to be real. And that might be how it is. Let me think for a minute. So a big part of what I was talking about before, you know, things aren't good or bad, they just happen, is when things happen that we don't like, we can, or let me phrase it like this. We can either accept it or take action. So when something really big happens, like let's say politics, let's say someone gets into politics that you don't like, what can you actually do about that? What can you change? What action can you take? You know? And if you can't take a specific action to fix what you don't like about the external world, but you also don't want to accept it. So that's where the manifesting comes in, and acting in line with your values, where you can take the idea of small impacts having big changes, like a butterfly effect, and try to manifest it in that way. You can go into the world, be your authentic self, and display values accordingly, and in turn, you can hope that that has ripple effects that, you know, helps the world or helps things go the way you want them to go. And those small acts of acting in line with your values will have a much bigger effect on your life and the people around your life, instead of thinking about how you can't change this thing you don't like about the world. Because ruminating will just do more damage. Thinking about it will just do more damage, instead of actually taking a lot of small actions to change it. And yeah, so I think you can see that displayed in people like Gandhi, where they were just their authentic good selves, and they took a lot of small actions to get where they were, and it made a really big impact on people. As where if they just thought about how life is unfair, how this thing is going on that they don't like, and I don't know many people like that, I guess very famous, influential people, if they just sat there thinking about how this is unfair and talking about how this is unfair and ruminating on that, there would have been no change. Which I think is a very stoic value that you can see in a lot of successful people. Yeah, so that's kind of like all the entry-level stuff to Stoicism that I wanted to talk about, but yeah. The beach is really beautiful today, even though the weather's not too nice. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about for this video. Just a bit of a yap about my philosophy. I'm still learning to articulate everything the best way, so sorry about that. But yeah, I think the video qualities are a bit better, and I much prefer the talking aspect of it. And hopefully over time, as I get better at talking and more well-versed in the subjects I'm talking about, maybe eventually I'll even help someone with something, or, you know, at least be entertaining. So yeah, but yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Oh, turn off, there. Oh, no.